Birdhouse in Your Soul by They Might Be Giants, a Songshare project by George Russell for the University of Florida Masters in Music Education program. Premiering in 1990 on their first major record label release album, Flood, Birdhouse in Your Soul became, at that time, They Might Be Giants' biggest hit, reaching number 5 on the Billboard Modern Rock list. But what made it such a big hit for the indie rock band out of New York? Some argue it's the quirkiness of the lyrics, while others like the happy-sounding chordal progressions and its catchy melody. Here I'll highlight some aspects of the song that will shed some light on this. Before we delve into the song, I'd like to give a little history of the group. They Might Be Giants, comprised of John Linnell and John Flansburgh, also known as the Two Johns, met in high school in Lincoln, Massachusetts in the late 1970s. The Two Johns moved to New York City together in 1981 to form their band, They Might Be Giants, taking the name from the 1971 film starring George C. Scott. They earned a reputation for being quirky and unusual due to their use of props and clever wordplay. Most notably, their performances were highlighted by the use of a drum machine or pre-recorded tape for accompaniment, while John Flansburgh played guitar and Linnell played accordion or saxophone. These performances endeared them to the underground audiences in New York City and college radio stations around the country, allowing them to find some success during the early days of MTV. After 2 independent releases, a self-titled album, and another titled Lincoln, named after their hometown, the group was signed by Elektra Records in 1989, leading to the release of the album Flood. While there are a couple of familiar songs on the album, the most notable is the first full song, Birdhouse in Your Soul. Birdhouse in Your Soul utilizes a traditional rock song form featuring an introduction, 2 verses, a chorus, and a bridge. One unique thing about the form, however, is that after the introduction, the song goes into the chorus instead of the first verse. One aspect leading to the popularity of Birdhouse in Your Soul is the lyrics. The song tells a story from the perspective of a tiny canary-shaped nightlight plugged into the wall that holds a constant vigil over a sleeping child in a dark room. The introduction acts like a literal introduction, as the light introduces itself as a friend, but not actually a friend, to the sleeping child. The words of the chorus tell us that the light is watching over you and to make a little birdhouse in your soul, meaning to keep the metaphorical light on inside of you, possibly pertaining to positive energy or childhood innocence. You canary in the alley by the light switch, who watches over you? Make a little birdhouse in your soul, not to put too fine a point on it. Say I'm the only bee in your bonnet. Make a little birdhouse in your soul. In the first verse, the narrator tells us they have a secret to tell from my electrical well, referring to the light they shine, powered by the electricity they get from the outlet. They then go on to talk about their role in relation to the room, saying, so the room must listen to me, filibuster vigilantly, meaning the light will shine as long as it needs to. Then, introducing themselves again by spelling their name, L-I-T-E. The narrator then goes on to compare themselves to the Longian Symphonet by saying, my story's infinite, like a Longian Symphonet, it doesn't rest, which is either a reference to a watch manufacturer, the Longian Symphonet Recording Society, or a transistor radio. It's never made explicitly clear. I have a secret to tell from my electrical well. It's a simple message and I'm leaving out the whistles and bells. So the room must listen to me, filibuster vigilantly. My name is Blue Canary, one note spelled L-I-T-E. My story's infinite, like the Longian Symphony, it doesn't rest. In the second verse, our narrator describes what they see around them with the line, there's a picture opposite me of my primitive ancestry, which stood on rocky shores and kept the beaches shipwrecked free. This indicates that the light is looking at a painting of a lighthouse, that is the distant ancestor. The next line, though I respect that a lot, I'd be fired if that were my job, after killing Jason off and countless screaming Argonauts. This would mean the bird would not make a good lighthouse because it's just not bright enough, and it would have resulted in the wrecking of Jason's ship, the Argo. The last part of the verse reiterates that the little light has good intentions with the line, "Bluebird of friendliness, like guardian angels, it's always near." Again, letting the child know they are safe. Lastly, in the ending choruses, the narrator tells us to leave the nightlight on inside the birdhouse in your soul.
There's a picture opposite me of my primitive ancestry, which stood on rocky shores and kept the beaches shipwreck free. Though I respect that a lot, I'd be fired if that were my job. After killing Jason off and countless screaming Argonauts, bluebird of friendliness, like guardian angels, it's always near.
While the lyrics have been interpreted to have a deeper meaning, on the band's website, John Linnell said, "Birdhouse in Your Soul is a song about a nightlight. That's it. It's written from the perspective of a nightlight, serenading the occupant of its room. The thing is, there are so many syllables in the songs that we had to come up with something to fill the spaces, so it ends up being kind of Gilbert and Sullivan-y." In a later interview, he said, "The melody and chords were cooked up years earlier, and the lyrics had to be shoehorned in to match the melody. I didn't find out what the Longin Symphonet was till after the song was released. It rhymed with infinite. Sort of." Another reason for the song's popularity was the music itself. While they do make use of a lot of 1, 4, and 5 chords, the way they move the bass line to create inversions and the chords they borrow from other keys add a lot of color to the progressions. Rhythmically, the backbeat does not follow a traditional pattern, with the snare and bass drums hitting on every beat instead of just 2 and 4. These, coupled with the chorus first form, make for a unique listening experience. Some people claim that the song modulates as many as 18 times, but I don't think this is the case. While it may seem that these modulations are occurring, I think the song holds pretty true in just 1 or 2 keys, but borrows a lot from other places. It starts in the introduction. The first chord is C major. From there we move through what feels like the key of E flat major, or the flat major third of the parallel minor to C major, which is C minor. The beginning of the chorus would indicate the key of C major, but in the second half of the chorus, the chord progressions in melody would seem to indicate the song is modulated to E flat major. However, due to the short amount of time spent here and the 5-to-1 resolution back to C major, I think they've again just borrowed these chords from C minor, while the melody keeps a happy major sound. This type of borrowing occurs again in the bridge, where we actually do modulate to A major. Again though, they borrow from the flat major 3, which in the key of A major is C major. Or maybe they don't, and I'm just overthinking it. I look forward to your comments on the matter. The melody also encompasses a big area utilizing a full octave on the verses and an octave and a third in the chorus. This range accents the major sounds, giving a whimsical feel to already unique lyrics. While Birdhouse in Your Soul may not be what's considered a mainstream song, it has garnered a lot of recognition for the group. They were able to perform it on The Tonight Show with the Tonight Show Orchestra led by Doc Severinsen, and the song has appeared on various television shows including Pushing Daisies, starring Kristen Chenoweth. They Might Be Giants have come a long way from their early 80s underground roots, and have written many familiar songs, and released over 30 albums, EPs, and compilations. However, Birdhouse in Your Soul remains one of their most popular to this day, being a staple at live performances everywhere. Thanks for watching.
I'm your only friend, I'm not your only friend, but I'm a little glowing friend, but really I'm not actually your friend, but I am. Blue canary in the alley by the light switch, who watches over you? Make a little birdhouse in your soul, not to put too fine.